Everyone thought he was untouchable, surrounded by private jets, billionaire friends, politicians, and royal connections. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't loud or constantly in front of cameras. He operated quietly behind closed doors, inside elite circles where access was power and silence was protection. For years, allegations surrounded him, but allegations alone don't bring down powerful men. Influence protects, money delays consequences, and connections blur the lines between accusation and accountability. To understand what changed, you have to look back. Epstein had already faced serious charges years earlier, and in 2008 he secured a controversial plea deal that many later criticized as shockingly lenient. He avoided full federal prosecution, served minimal time, and then, almost unbelievably, returned to high society as if nothing had happened. For a while, it seemed like the system had absorbed the scandal and moved on. But powerful systems rely on one dangerous assumption, that the public eventually forgets. And for years, it looked like they were right. Then, investigative journalists began digging again. Not tabloids chasing headlines, but reporters reviewing court documents, testimonies, and sealed records. Patterns began to reappear. Details that had once seemed buried started connecting in new ways, and the stories slowly resurfaced into public view. The real crack in the wall wasn't dramatic. It was documentation, flight logs, contact books, financial transfers, property records. These weren't rumors or speculation. They were recorded connections. Names that carried enormous influence began appearing in official documents, and once those documents entered public conversation, the shield of silence weakened. Still, Epstein appeared confident. He moved as if his network would continue to protect him, as if proximity to power guaranteed immunity. That belief may have been the biggest mistake of all. In July 2019, he was arrested again, this time facing serious federal charges. The headlines exploded globally, and suddenly this wasn't a quiet controversy, it was international news. Cameras followed every update, and the spotlight intensified with each passing day. What changed wasn't just the legal pressure, it was the momentum. Once federal investigators stepped in and public attention surged, the situation could no longer be quietly negotiated or minimized. Then came the most shocking development. While awaiting trial, Epstein died in jail, officially ruled a suicide. But the circumstances immediately raised questions. Reports of sleeping guards, malfunctioning cameras, and procedural irregularities created doubt in the public mind. Whether one believes the official explanation or not, trust fractured. The focus shifted from one man to the larger system surrounding him. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to SR for more powerful content. People weren't just asking what he did. They were asking how it was allowed to continue for so long, how many knew, how many ignored warning signs, and who benefited from years of silence. The case transformed from a criminal investigation into a broader conversation about influence, accountability, and elite protection. What ultimately exposed the operation wasn't one explosive moment. It was accumulation, years of allegations, followed by renewed investigation, followed by documentation, followed by federal charges, followed by global scrutiny. Power structures rarely collapse in a single event. They weaken in layers, and once enough layers are stripped away, the structure can't hold. The biggest mistake wasn't a single action. It was complacency. The belief that connections could outlast consequences, that wealth could outmaneuver scrutiny, and that silence could indefinitely suppress truth. The digital age changed that equation. Information spreads faster, documents resurface, public pressure builds quickly, and once momentum reaches a tipping point, even powerful figures feel the impact. This case became a symbol not just because of its details, but because it challenged the assumption that influence equals immunity. It forced uncomfortable questions about society's relationship with wealth and power. We often equate proximity to elites with legitimacy, and we assume that if someone moves within respected circles, they must be trustworthy. Epstein cultivated that image carefully, presenting himself in academic, philanthropic, and high-level social environments that signaled credibility. But systems built on secrecy depend on isolating truth, and once survivors' voices aligned with documentation and renewed investigation, that isolation broke. Even years later, the case continues to echo, because it represents more than one individual. It represents a network, a structure, and the fragile nature of protection built on influence. Circles can feel unbreakable from the inside, But once exposed to sustained scrutiny, even the strongest ones can collapse. And that may be the real lesson. Power can